Hello, everyone. It's episode 73 of the General Damage Podcast.
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
I dropped my thing. It's going all right.
Yeah, I definitely feel you there on the all right front.
My
Yeah,
Both right, but all right front.
Yeah, oh, God.
Yeah.
that was like the worst segue.
I know. That was not an intentional segue. It's just I wanted to sound like I was enunciating because I know I slur a lot when I talk.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, just quick introductions. I'm Nick,
I'm Will.
And I'm Shane.
the 5-year-old of the group.
You know, I take pride in that.
Good. You should. It is who you are. You've encapsulated you.
Next
Okay,
time I
child.
draw a picture of us doing the podcast, I'm going to be like in a toddler in a high chair.
Yeah.
Be like
I
Stewie.
believe it. It actually would probably be great. Would I look like the deranged uncle with a beer in his hand?
Either that or the dad passed out in the the recliner.
Oh, dude, excellent. Though I think that is kind of a misrepresentation of me because I don't always fall asleep in the recliner after I've had like a good meal and a drink or two. I'm usually energetic enough, and then finally I'll collapse in a bed, and then be out.
I don't like taking naps.
Apparently I found out. I found out like my sleep habits started when I was like a young child. To go off topic a little bit and kind of do weird shit that we do. Yeah, apparently I never took naps as a kid, and like it's stayed very constant throughout my life. And I'm like, holy shit, that explains way more about me. Why I don't understand what naps are, or I don't sleep in the middle of the day because I'm tired.
Yeah.
I just can't, or I don't want to. And my body is just, for years, has physically accepted that as, the common state of things. So,
Well, yeah, if I pass out in the middle of the day and I wake up, I feel like crap.
It's a gross feeling, especially on a hot day. It makes that feeling 10 times worse.
Or if your house is just warm, yeah.
Oh god, you wake up, you're sticky feeling, you feel like you need another shower. It's the middle of the day, so it feels like crap has just gone by and you've done fuck all. It's
really disconcerting when you look at the clock and it's 4, and then you wake up, you blink and it's 7, and your room is dark, and it's like, oh shit.
I don't normally mind that scenario, but I hate when you're like fucking. You're about to go to bed and it's like 10, and then you blink and your clock says like 5 a.m. and you feel like you haven't slept.
Dude,
that is the worst feeling in the world.
Yep, that's just as bad as like waking up in the middle of the day, because your body doesn't feel rested when it clearly has gotten the sufficient sleep it needs. I sometimes attribute that to like just oversleeping. Your body just clearly doesn't need that much rest in it. It just needed enough. And
when I was in college, I think I slept for 14 hours straight after finals.
Dude.
And the thing is, when I passed out, I was so tired my body didn't want to move.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in the same position I was for 14 hours.
Oh, God.
So, like, getting out of that position was just like everything was like stretching and popping, and it was just like, it was uncomfortable.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I was miserable for a couple hours, and I realized, like, oh man, I have a month off now.
I think the worst was, it was like junior year, did finals.
Finals or
what happened was
college?
Finals were done. Yeah, in college.
Okay.
I fell asleep in my room for about like 12 hours straight.
Mm-hmm.
Or it was almost like a full 8 hours, which isn't too bad. And I wake up and my body's like, you need to use the restroom. I'm like, sure, right? I'm awake now. The moment I am done using the restroom, the moment I walk out the door, I lose all my energy. My body's like, cool, now we're going back to sleep. And I was like, you piece of shit. This isn't fair. Like, I literally fell face planted in my bed, and then I woke up like another 4 hours later.
Oh, shit.
And I was just pissed. I was like, I lost 4 hours. Of course, my roommates were freaking out. They're like, you okay? I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah. think Ashley told me something of that where she said something like, yeah, it was like after finals, there was this like, I don't know how long she said she fell asleep for. It was, yeah. I know Jay Cogs, he slept for 18 hours straight once.
Yeah, the Odin sleep.
Huh?
The Odin sleep just never wakes up.
Yeah. Well, he fell asleep for 18 hours, and when he finally came out of his room, he missed work, and I think he missed a class in that time frame, which is fairly lucky. That's all he missed. But he came out of his room, and his roommate apparently just looked at him and says, "I thought you died." And it's like, well, thanks for caring and checking on me, checking in on him. It's like, fucking idiot.
Yeah, dude.
I think Will knows the roommate he had.
Yep, I think I do too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah, no, not a fantastic person, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
it's a surreal thing. The waking, the stress sleep that you get after finals.
Yeah.
And speaking of surreal, right? That's a segue. Over the past weekend, I think it was probably the most surreal thing to go log out the computer and be like, Nazis rally in local in like small town. Like that was a headline I read.
Yeah.
And I was just like, my first thought was like, this can't. No, I know this can't be real. It's insane.
Yep.
And then you click the link, and it's not, in fact, insane. It's actually quite real.
Yeah. On Monday, I watched the whole. Vice News went to. They heard that rally was happening, so they went there.
Yeah.
And they followed the whole thing from like a couple days before the actual Charlotte stuff into after it. They got the car on film. The car that plowed into people.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of intense. The interesting thing, though, is the guy that they were following, it's Chris something, I forget. And he's talking about, how he's, rallying, blah, blah, blah. And I found out apparently their nickname for Canada is Canistan or something like that. Where,
Christ.
Yeah, it's like you have no rights if you're a white male. That's what one guy was complaining, because he drove down from Canada to do that.
Huh.
Yeah. But apparently the leader of that whole thing, the guy that organized it, he has a warrant out for his arrest. I forget for what exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, hopefully they get him. He'll probably bitch the entire time and complain that he has a Jewish lawyer.
God, that is irony at its greatest.
Yeah.
It's fucked up to say that, but one of the things to come out of this was Discord taking a stance, and we posted about it, and yes, I agree with their decision.
Yeah, the Discord came out with their whole thing. They basically they banned an alt-right server, and members and stuff like that. And some people are crying free speech. We'll get to that in a sec.
Mm-hmm.
But like Discord, it has it in there, which I had to when I booted up today. They had the whole thing of agreeing to our terms of service. Yeah. And if you read their terms of service, it basically says you can't promote violence or say hate speech, a bunch of shit that basically these alt-right servers were doing. So it was in their own guidelines that they could ban them.
Yeah.
So, they're in their own right. At the same time, it's like free speech basically means you can say whatever you want, and the police cannot arrest you for it. It's the government cannot intervene. It is not it's not freedom of consequence.
Right.
Any company can say, no, we don't want you here. They can refuse service, which kind of goes both ways, because that's how we got the whole that bakery that wanted to make a cake for a gay wedding fiasco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Discord's in their own right to ban what they deem not great. They are about games and building a gaming community and people sharing and doing what we do. We use Discord to communicate, to make this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I wish Twitter would make that kind of stand, because Twitter has a bunch of vile shit on it, and it hasn't done anything about it.
Dude, you want to know who has a really bad issue of not taking a stand?
What? Tumblr?
Tumblr.
No, yeah, Tumblr. That's what you were gonna say, Shane.
No, I hear about it all the time, where there's a whole bunch of
dumbass 19-year-old.
What's that?
I view Tumblr like that dumbass teenager who thinks he's edgy. He thinks Devil's Rejects is a great film. No, it's not.
All I know is there are so many social platforms that obviously they have people, doing the same thing that happened with Discord. It's like they are violating the terms of service. They are promoting hate speech, but they don't act, and it's really disheartening, to be honest.
Well, it's not. It's in the case of Twitter. In this case, it's like you have a bunch of accounts that are threatening people, threatening to kill them, threatening to rape them, threatening to do a bunch of horrible shit to them. Mm-hmm. Do something, and at least in this case with Discord, they're doing something.
Yeah.
I mean, their CEO came out and gave a statement. They're standing their ground. They're not accepting this shit. So, props to Discord.
I think the other thing that that I was glad to see, in the wake of all this kind of this vile act, Trump's business advisory council disbanded.
Yeah.
Because they cannot support a man who is not willing to call out the garbage and the crap, to call it how it is.
I don't want to get super political, but that son of a bitch even has said, well, there are violent people on both sides. There's also the alt left.
Yeah.
No. Like Mitt Romney. Fucking Mitt Romney. Okay? Some guy retweet. He says, some guy tweeted out, says, I'm retweeting Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
What the hell, 2017?
Yeah.
And Mitt Romney came out with a great tweet. He says, there is no such thing as anti-fascists or, one group versus another group. This is people who stand up for, they don't want to hate. And this is a group of bigotry and intolerance. There's no difference. There's no, similarity. I think I'm paraphrasing like crazy. But yeah, it's bullshit.
No, there's a lot of false equivalencies people are drawing.
Yeah. Yeah,
my grandfather is a big listener of Howie Carr and Rush Limbaugh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when he drives me places, I listen, and they've been drawing a lot of false equivalencies. And this is one of those times where you can't, you can't accept it.
You gotta call it how it actually is. It's bigotry at its worst, and it's been let to kind of do whatever because we have a president who's not willing to call it out, and that's horrifying. That is anti what our country stands for.
Right. You know what? Ashley brought up one thing that in my mind that I didn't think about at first. She's like, "Do you know how many Holocaust survivors there are who are still alive? And do you know how many vets there are from World War II that are probably still around?"
Right.
Think about how they feel. And
God.
You see a bunch of them actually saying things, and some of them are like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
There was this one guy. He was like, "I fought Nazis over 40 years ago. I shouldn't have to fight them again."
Right.
70 years.
Was that?
It's been 70 years.
70 years, yeah.
Yeah. There's two things I want to get to that. This is the correct quote from Mitt Romney.
Mm-hmm.
It's his tweet was, "No, not the same. One side is racist, bigoted Nazis. The other opposes racism and bigotry. Morally different universes."
Yeah.
That came from the guy who kept, throwing Benghazi at Obama's face. But still, it's like educated politician, douchebag, orange head. Big difference.
It really is.
Yeah. But the thing I want to get, you're comparing to the World War II vets and the Holocaust survivors who are looking at this going, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
The descendants of Robert E. Lee, his great-great-grandson, is basically saying, no, wait, Lee never stood for this.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Lee can't, the descendants of the statues that are being taken down are basically saying, no, this is bullshit, and he probably does need to be taken down. And it's as un-American as it gets, because you have a general who's very prestigious in the military, but he left the military to fight against the Union he served.
Yeah.
And when he surrendered to Grant, he did everything he could to stitch the country back himself.
Mm-hmm.
But he knew he fucked up and he lost. And all the South knew. But all this shit with the statues and everything, like, put him in a museum, but put him next to what it all represents. Like, the Civil War is a huge scar. 500,000 people died. Americans died in that war. I think even more than that. And it was a bloody, huge conflict. We shouldn't forget it, but we shouldn't celebrate it.
No, we really shouldn't.
And that's the thing. It's the same thing like why Disney shouldn't censor itself, which is constantly doing. I heard there's going to be like a re-release, or they're trying to re-release Dumbo and get rid of birds. Get rid of the birds, the crows. You know what I'm talking about? The crows.
Yeah. No, I do. What?
They want to get rid of that because they were like, oh, it's it's racist and it's morally insensitive, blah blah blah. It's like, I get why, but you shouldn't. Like, you should not forget your history, and that's what I think in that sense.
You shouldn't forget it. You shouldn't praise it.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't re-release Dumbo. How about that?
Yeah, that's actually the best way to go about it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like historical stuff too, because that's what people have been using. Actually, that's what a lot of Rush Limbaugh talks about, right? The erasure of history and all that. No one's gonna forget it just because we don't have these statues. And granted, while some of the Robert E. Lee statues are historical, right?
Right.
Yeah. A good chunk of Confederate statues that have been brought up were brought up during the 60s in protest to the Civil Rights Movement. They aren't these historical landmarks. They are literally a bunch of racists being like, well, no, we still believe in the good old South. And here's the other thing, too. It's like you said, Robert E. Lee, historically, wasn't really that big of the Confederacy. He just didn't want to fight Virginia. Like, that's his famous quote was, Mr. President, I can't stand against the state of Virginia. He even, it's claimed that he even gave, Lincoln a chance to, like, throw him in jail for treason, but he didn't. He's a very stand-up guy, but I don't think he'd be like, oh, I need all these statues. He believed in freedom. That was it.
He definitely would be against what has kind of been perpetrated throughout all of this.
Yeah.
I'm going off of two different things. They're kind of unrelated, but what's funny about Lee is something I learned. He was headmaster at West Point.
Yeah.
He hated the job. I think he came very close to expelling Grant. Who was a fuck up. He was like the opposite of Lee.
Oh yeah,
at West Point, which is hilarious because he surrenders to Grant. But then there's that famous quote from Lincoln of "Find out what whiskey Grant drinks and give it to my other generals." But so I find that kind of funny. But the other thing I just remembered was everyone's talking about history. Someone tweeted, "It's like all these people who are talking about history and forgetting our history when all these statues come down." Will be great to know we have books.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But
that's
to roll things back, it is what it is right now, and you have to keep fighting. And you have to keep fighting it. Again, like, you cannot be a proud American and a proud Nazi. Like, it just doesn't exist.
Yeah, those aren't words that live together ever.
No. Especially, like, you're holding two flags of two sides that lost. Are you going to lose again? Yes.
The only hope we can have at this moment is that this just is a small blip. That hopefully the next few years we can push this back. I mean, that's the hope. No one knows how history flows.
No, they don't. There's a couple things here. One, this is just like it should be a rallying cry, and people should keep pushing harder. Mm-hmm. And I've kind of come to the conclusion, whether or not Trump lasts for 4 years, or I hope he doesn't go for another term. Mm-hmm. I either want him to be impeached or to lose horrifically. I don't want him to bow out. I don't want him to say, well, I'm not running next term. I don't want him to leave gracefully.
Yeah.
That's me. I want to just... I want him to crash and burn, essentially. And I don't want him to take the country with us. I don't want him to take us with him. But he needs to fail. And the problem is he's been failing and just no one's picked it up. And it's all connected. It's all connected. And he's defending white supremacy. It's bullshit.
Yeah, that is not how a president acts for our country.
But in some cases, but at the same time, it's becoming a rallying cry, because now we have companies like Discord and other companies as well who are saying no. And they don't want to help these fuckers organize, and they're getting rid of them.
Your own business counsel's like, no, you cannot do this. You cannot support this.
Yeah.
And they're like, fuck this. We're disbanding because we know what's happening is wrong. That's if you're an intelligent human being, that is a wake up call to you. That is a wake up call that you are fucking up something fierce and that you need to reevaluate shit.
I don't know if he's gonna do that.
I know
we would.
Oh yeah,
but I like to think the House and the Senate are going, okay, maybe we need to think this shit.
I would hope so. I'd hope that there are sensible people on both sides, being Republican and Democratic, that are like, whoa, he said some words and shit that is not okay, no matter what anybody thinks.
Something so important.
Getting more and more isolated.
Right now, with, white supremacists and neo-Nazism. For instance, that moment in Charlottesville where unfortunately that driver killed that one person and maimed all those others.
Yeah.
That was moments after they had just the counter protesters had pushed out the actual protesters, the Nazis. They were celebrating, and that's what gave that guy the opportunity to drive through. As someone pointed out, there are, even though it seems scary right now, and even though these people are coming out of the woodwork, there still are more patriotic people, and there's more of us who seem to be on morality, and like with Mitt Romney and some of the other Republican politicians who are even have common sense to say, hey, this is messed up.
Yeah.
These guys are losing a fight. They're doing a lot of very desperate things right now.
Yeah.
They're just using scare tactics and numbers to try and mess with people.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that, in the end, the righteous and the true will reign supreme, because this is supposed to be the home of the brave and the free.
Yeah. Same. I mean, we're getting a lot of brave people out there, so there's that. I mean, right then and there. They're coming out in droves. These fuckers that hate are coming out in droves, but they're just getting a bigger reaction from the people that don't want it. No one's sitting by. That's the thing. No one's sitting on the sidewalk going, well, they're not bothering me. No, people are fucking going at them. So,
yeah.
I don't agree with them vandalizing statues and taking them down themselves, because that's a whole other ball of wax. But you just have to keep counter-protesting. And the best thing is, they should be counter-protesting the way Kevin Smith counter-protested.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I don't know if I told this story. So if you ever watch, I think it's Kevin Smith Going to Hell, which is one of his big Q&A specials. And in that one, he talks a lot about Red State. He talks about the other ending he had for that film, which would have been terrific. But he's talking about that, and he had the Westboro Baptist Church protest him a lot. And he actually kind of went up to them, asked them, and he got to know the daughter or the granddaughter of the founder of the Westboro Baptist Church a little bit. And so he he saw the Westboro Baptist Church, I think, at Comic-Con. They were protesting Comic-Con. And then he saw a bunch of cosplayers around him. And he had like there was a cosplayer that was cosplaying Bender, and it said "Destroy all humans." There was a stormtrooper who was holding up a sign, "The rebels killed my friends on the Death Star." Just, basically they're mocking him. It's like, that's how you counter protest these assholes. And he basically sent these messages out, and they all joined, all these fans with their own protest signs of whatever, joined him at the Sundance to counter protest across the corner of the Westboro Baptist Church. And he had his friend who's this big bear guy, and he encouraged him to make a protest sign. And it was the last protest sign that Kevin Smith held up, but he made his friend hold it up. And his friend held it up, was proud as hell with it. And he told his friend to make the protest sign, and it would say, "Dicks taste yummy."
Oh.
And he just wanted to see the daughter's reaction when this man was holding up this big sign that says "Dicks taste yummy." It was hilarious. It's a hilarious story, but that's what I think. You should fight with facts, but you should also just kind of point out their stupidity.
Normally, I would agree with you on that. Mm-hmm. But because of how violent and how crazy these people are, because they drove a car into a group of people.
True.
That is my one thing where it's like, I do agree with you. Like, most times, peaceful protest, counter-protesting should be creative and smart.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm just terrified because of the fact that, like, the people you're counter-protesting are violent.
Yeah.
They are out to hurt people. And, once again, to quote, like Mitt Romney said, opposing them does not make you a bad person for opposing violence.
Yeah.
Like, these fucking...
Yeah, so...
monsters.
They are. But we're happy that the tech that we use, the company that supports the tech that we use, Discord, has done the right thing in our opinion.
Yes.
So, speaking of Nazis, just going to segue into this.
Oh, go please.
If you're looking for a game to express your anger at the shit that's happening, play Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
But don't watch me play it, because I suck ass. Oh my god, do I suck ass.
Was it a good choice for us to suggest you to play?
It is. Okay, there's a couple of problems I have with it. It's just, on the controller side of things, trying to select the weapons. So you select a weapon, and then you can hit Y to go back and forth between your two previous weapons. Mm-hmm. But you come up with a wheel, and the wheel is very finicky of like what it wants to connect, like what it wants to hit. So it's like it's picking guns I don't want to pick. So it's there's some, like, I could have complaints with that aspect of it. The other aspect I have is, like, I'm probably playing on a difficulty level I shouldn't be playing on, but I feel I'd be going too fast if I was playing on an easier difficulty. So it's like, I think it's like it's a huge margin between difficulties of like, oh, this is super easy to, god damn it, I've died like 15 times here. So yeah, I mean, with that, it's still a fun game. Right now, I'm trying to destroy helicopters.
That game has a very different pacing for most first-person shooters.
Yeah,
it's a lot grindier than like for how I've seen Ashley play it. It's a little bit slower paced. It's not so much run and gun, even though that's kind of how it's built.
Yeah,
but I will say that it's probably, once you get, granted, you're playing on the Xbox, right?
Right.
Yeah. If you could play it on PC, I think that wheel is a lot smoother.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do definitely get the feeling that this is a PC port, and it should be played on a PC, but I don't have the PC for it.
Yeah. I'm just saying that might be why it feels that way.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, regardless of the fact, I like it. The other problem I have is, like, so Blazkowicz likes to monologue.
Yes, he does.
But I can barely hear him. And there's nothing I can do about the audio. So, like, I feel like I'm missing story points. Unless it goes into a cutscene, the audio is fine. But when he's just, like, when I'm him and I'm wandering around, I can barely hear him. So, because he's got that gravelly kind of, like, whisper kind of voice. And it's like, just speak the fuck up, please. I know I'm missing stuff. But...
I mean, some of that stuff, I don't think it's super paramount to the story.
But it's kind of nice.
It's it's a really nice touch because I know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting though because I feel like the way they chose to make him talk about stuff. When you get to certain cutscenes that are more story driven or like special additive stuff to it.
Yeah.
I like the guy who voices Glasgow because it's a good voice. It fits the character.
Right.
And like especially at the end of the game, like he does do a few monologues and they're pretty cool. Because just like the speech they give him and all that.
Right. The part that I actually could hear was Nazis landed on the moon. Okay, fuck you, moon. Which is such a 90s cliche of a line. But I like it. I like it a lot. So, really, I do like it. It's just, I kind of wish it... Because half the time it's making me feel like, okay, now you have to be stealthy. And it's like, okay, I'm going to go stealthy, because if I don't go stealthy here, I'm going to get my ass handed to me. But I don't want to be stealthy. I want to run around and kill everything. And it's just, but it negates that. So that's kind of the problems I have with it. It is definitely kind of like a palate cleanser, though I kind of went back to Shadow of Mordor just to do more stuff in it. To get a few more achievements. Speaking of achievements, so this is just me being pissed off at Xbox. So I was playing Saturday, and I'm playing single player, just going around doing my thing, and all of a sudden my game pauses on its own, and I get this notification: you are no longer connected to Xbox Live.
Ugh, alright.
Like, what the hell happened? So I go out, and like the TV's wonky, and I see the router is like blinking, like it's going. It's resetting or reloading, so it's like I didn't have online capability for like 3-4 hours.
Ugh.
And then I realized, like, I've been playing this game for a while. And then I looked up some stuff of like, okay, I gotten that perk, I got that perk. Have I gotten achievements? I should have gotten achievements. I hit the home button and everything to go check achievements. I can't even select achievements when I'm offline.
That's weird.
And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? I have to be online to look at my goddamn achievements?
That's
kind of dumb.
And it's also like, did I even get the achievements? That's the thing I was really mad at, because it's like, oh my god, if I didn't get those achievements, I'm going to be pissed off. And I'm angry at an arbitrary thing, but I've been kind of achievement crazy lately.
Right.
So it's like, I fucking want them.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, god damn it. I'm grumbling like crazy. And then I played it again the next day, and I checked my notifications, and I'm like, oh, I got all these achievements at the same time.
Okay.
I think they all said like 8:53 or something like that on August 12th. It's like, okay, I'll accept it.
Yeah.
I have them. That's fine. I'm not going to gripe too much. But yeah, so other than that, it's a good looking game. It's aged. I don't think well. Even it's been out for 3 years. But it's fun for the most part. I just wish I could be kind of a bit more crazy run and gun, because this is like an old style shooter, and that's what I want it to feel like. And I feel like I'm playing it's too stealthy. And there's places where I have to be stealthy.
Yeah. So,
but it's good. It's and I can understand why picking that is better, because its sequel comes out at the end of October. So.
Yep. Yeah, buddy.
Which I think takes place in 67. This one takes place in 60, and the next one takes place 7 years after.
I'm excited for the next one to come out. Mostly, I was joking with Ashley. I was like, if you see people complain about the next Wolfenstein game, maybe you might need to clean out your friends list.
Yeah. I've never really purged my friends list on Facebook.
I don't really do it either, but I just actually wait to be sweeped. I'm lazy like that. If you guys don't mind, I'd like to talk about something real quick.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
It's nothing major, but I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone.
Right.
It's fun. If for people who don't know, Hearthstone's Blizzard's trading card game for WoW. Still not as good as the WoW TCG. I'm going on the record now.
Yep, I agree.
I will second that, and that's coming from a guy who is never going to play TCGs, and as Will can also corroborate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I was really going to get that game because I thought it was a great game. I am this character and I outfit this character with cool weapons. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's canceled. Fuck.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yep. Well, I've been playing Hearthstone, and it's still fun. The recent expansion came out, which was Knights of the Frozen Throne, so it's all Lich King stuff. And I think this set finally I'm starting to see the improvement with the game, because I actually had a lot of gripes about Hearthstone besides the fact that it killed WoW TCG.
Yeah.
And the big one was I felt like it was really much a pay-to-win system, which is obnoxious.
Yeah.
And I also felt like if your deck's not outfitted with legendaries, you lose.
I
Right.
can agree with you there.
But so what's happened is over the past few sets, they've started to control the amount at the rate at which people get legendaries.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're more frequent in packs. And I think that's good because it allows casual players to start actually standing a chance when they want to try ranked and other things.
Right.
Yeah, they're not having to like scrap like random cards that they've picked doing drafts to try and build the legendaries that they need, or like paying extra money to be able to build the legendaries that they need. That kind of garbage.
I find it really funny that free games like Hearthstone and League and Dota, people spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, in the case of Hearthstone, you're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars so you can just compete at a certain level, which I don't think is a great design, but yeah.
Well, it's not a good design, but so what I found out was that one of the top decks right now is like Pirate Warrior. It's been for a while.
Has been forever.
Yeah, but the thing is that deck actually doesn't play that many legendaries. It actually doesn't. It plays like one, and it's actually a 1/1 with haste.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even that great. And the rest of it's just rares and commons, which is good because you want that type of diversity, right?
Right.
But the reason why I bring up Knights of the Frozen Throne is because recently they released these new legendaries, which is their Death Knight versions of all the heroes. So when you play it, your hero becomes a Death Knight version of themselves, which is really cool because it changes their hero power, and it does they all have enter the battlefield effects. They all get +5 armor, and they all cost different things because they're different mana amounts because they are ranging in power. They're a little bit different.
Okay.
But what I like about it was when you opened up your free packs, right? I noticed that a lot of people seem to be getting the Death Knight cards more frequently. In fact, actually, the first pack I opened, I got a Death Knight card, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then the new thing they're doing is they're making the solo adventures free now. And by doing the prologue for the solo adventure, which is you fight the Lich King, you actually got another Death Knight card.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So far, I have 3. I have 3 of them.
Okay.
No, I have 4. And that's actually pretty cool, because I didn't play a lot for a while. And the thing is, these cards are neat because they change the dynamic of the game, but they don't change it so much where you feel underwhelmed.
Right.
I've actually... The way I play... The way it does feel, though, right now is it's like, do you have your Death Knight card for your class? If yes, hopefully you can play yours or make advantage of yours before your opponent does. Or otherwise, if you don't have it, there is a card that they printed called Mindbreaker, which stops people from using hero powers, which is a huge mechanic of the game. And it's a rare, and everyone seems to have it. So they've printed both the stuff that they want to make cool and the answer in case you can't get a hold of it. So it's a bit of a balancing trick, but it's nice because it's like, oh, I get this really cool thing, but it's not the end all be all. It's only good if I have the board state that makes it advantageous. Which feels very much like Commander for EDH.
Sure.
For Magic. Because it's like, oh, a Commander, sometimes the way you build it around your legendary or you have a certain combo set up or something, and it's like when you get to that point where you can take advantage of what you do, it feels good. It feels like you're impacting the game. And it doesn't feel like you could easily be blown out. On the flip side, you can't just jump the gun, right? That's what I always felt like Hearthstone didn't have, which is like it felt like you just kind of auto played, or you kind of just played legendaries for the sake of that's what wins games. And
that's pretty boring.
Yeah, it's just weak. It's not fun design, but this is better because it feels more flexible. It feels competitive. And granted, there are still things that seem like auto includes right now.
Right.
But I'm seeing a lot of diversity from this, so I'm enjoying it. Also,
that's cool.
Also, I'm enjoying it just because of the fact that I play Murlocs, which is the goblins of WoW right now.
Yeah.
And it's fun, and it's actually good. It's not bad.
That's to each their own.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about Blizzard and Hearthstone and stuff, so a while back, Blizzard announced that they were getting rid of BattleNet, and they're just gonna call it Blizzard something. I forget, BlizzardNet or something like that.
Yep.
And a bunch of people flipped. They were mad. So recently this week, Blizzard basically said, "Yeah, well, keeping the BattleNet name after all. We're not getting rid of it, but we're still going to change it. It's just now going to be called Blizzard BattleNet, because they want Blizzard to be synonymous with everything that they do.
Yeah,
because they want to rope everything up into this nice, neat little package, which I get. But it's like, I just found this out that BattleNet is 21 years old.
Yep.
So people have grown up with this thing. You can't just immediately get rid of it.
Yeah.
You can't just change it just because you want something to look nice and neat. That's just okay, it's 21 years old. That means some people have had their fucking gamer tag names for 20 fucking years, which is insane.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think of how long it's existed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So, and hey, you can download StarCraft now.
Yep.
Because the remaster of StarCraft 1 and Brood War came out this past Tuesday.
Oh, that was funny.
Just sweet.
I told Ashley, I was like, for $15, you could play classic StarCraft. And she looks me dead in the eyes and she goes, "If I do that, I'm never doing anything ever again."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, but it's only $15, and she just glares at me.
Jesus, you're trying to give an addict back their drug, man.
I'm just saying, if you really like classic StarCraft and it's only $15, why not play it? It's remastered.
Shane's, again, sometimes you're an addict and you can't put shit down, and when that happens, you never see the person again.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have an enabler sometimes.
If she gets it, Shane, you're single.
Yep.
I mean,
face that fact.
She plays plenty of other video games and we're fine.
Yeah. Right. But that's, sans StarCraft.
I actually, honestly, what was that? Unreal Tournament, right?
Mm.
Right.
If they ever made a new Unreal Tournament game.
You mean, how they are? Or no, that's Quake that's making theirs.
Yeah,
Quake.
If they made, a better version of, I think Unreal Tournament 2 was her favorite, I would never see her again. That would definitely be the game. She talks about that so fondly. She'd be like, "Oh, done with life."
I would not be surprised within a year or two if we heard Unreal Tournament 2018 or some shit.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
I would
I'd be
not
pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because with Doom and Wolfenstein, and again, these grandfathers of old FPSs are coming back with a vengeance, and they're great games. Why not Doom? I mean, why not Unreal Tournament?
Right, there's it definitely would excite people a lot.
It would excite people, and it would also pull the rug out on the esports side of things. Because all these pro players at COD and Battlefield have never played it. I would imagine have never played a game like Quake or Unreal Tournament. So it'd be like throwing them in a meat grinder.
I mean, it'd set them at a fair play level of everybody's kind of new to it and has to relearn how to do certain things.
Yeah, but it's a totally different play style.
Oh, that's
what I'm getting at. With COD, with COD and all the other games, Titanfall 2 and Battlefield, they're kind of a bit slower. There's a cover mechanic more to it that's a bit more methodical, and it is fast, but it's not that fast.
Yeah, it's definitely not Quake fast.
It's not Quake fast. It's not UT fast. It's like that shit. Like you spin around in like less than half a second.
That said, I will say the last fast Battlefield game was 2142. Just with how that game, depending on how you were playing it, especially the way like me and my brother and other people were playing it, was on that Quake level Twitch shooter. You have your mouse sensitivity, and the game's mouse sensitivity set so high that if you like flick your mouse just a little bit, you're 360ing as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be bringing that shit back, which I'm not opposed to.
I'm not opposed to it either. I mean, but I considering that with the games that we're seeing the trend currently, and I think it's FPS games just trying to find another niche again in the market. I definitely see those games returning.
Yeah, I think there's a want for it now.
Yeah, whether or not it could be an Unreal Tournament. Mm-hmm. Could be something else. You don't know, but it'll be neat to see.
Yeah, if
it happens. So, but yeah.
To change gears from movies from games to movies, I recently saw Dark Tower.
This is why I wish we had video, because you could see me, Will, and I'm doing that. So tell me about it, kind of thing.
Yeah. So I think, without spoiling too much, I think the Dark Tower movie tries to jam too much of the books into the characters that they only had room for, and it falters from that. Like, had this movie not been labeled Dark Tower, I think it probably would be doing better than it is. But unfortunately, it has the Dark Tower logo and the Dark Tower name, and with that comes an expectation, and unfortunately the expectation isn't met. Like, they have, in the book series, there are kind of 4 main protagonist gunslingers that we have, and in the movie we only get to see 2 of them, but we get to have elements of the other 2 characters jammed into one character, and it drove me bonkers the whole time watching that movie, because there were times where I'm like, oh, that's what that character did in the books. Oh, that's what that character would have done in the books. Oh, that happened with these people. Oh, okay, movie. Sure. What are you doing here?
Speaking of books, how far are you with that whole series?
So I am still in book 3. Book 3. Book 3 is big.
Okay.
And I'm not a fast reader. And I'm, going at my pace and enjoying the book.
Right.
So, but that said, I have about 200 pages left in it.
Okay.
And that's not from constant reading schedule, waking up, dedicating an hour or 2 of my day to just read the book. No, it's like when I want to, that said, I've been doing it a bit more at night. Like before I go to bed, I'll grab the book and sit down and read it. And sometimes in the morning I'll grab it and read it, because it's such a good book. It's
right.
Such a good series. And the first 3 books, the first one being the exception, I think. But book 2 and book 3 are really fucking captivating, and book 2 sets us up with 2 of the main protagonists in the series, and those characters are not in the movie at all. And what sucks is there are aspects and actions that are from the books that one of the other characters does. And it kind of drove me a little bonkers, because I was like, just fucking add this character. It's fine. It would have been fine. And the thing that sucks is the two things suck. The movie is an hour and a half long, which is not enough time by today's standards to really get everything on paper or on film when you're dealing with a series of books this large. 7 books is such a lot to like distill down into like a comprehensive movie. But the thing that like drives me mad is it's a good movie. It has elements of a good movie. It's not a spectacular movie, but like I enjoyed what was there. The thing that sucked is kind of understanding where the series has come from, and then to compare it to it, and then them just not matching up at all where they should be. I honestly think had they decided to just do book 1 of the Dark Tower series as a movie and test it, just be like, let's do this. If people don't like it, that's fine. The book can end that way, or the movie can end where the book ends of like Roland understanding what he needs to do further, and then that's it. Like in him kind of progressing, and you see this man, riding off into the sunset, so to speak. But they didn't. They decided to make their own thing and distill it down into something that just feels incomplete and missing things. And the last segment of the movie was a fun ride, like truly a good like set of action sequences that are fun and make sense for Roland and how much of a how like the gunslinger that he is and what he's known as. But I think what kind of where it falls there too is that if you've not read the books, you don't understand why Roland is able to like throw bullets in the air, fire off his revolvers and catch the bullets immediately and fire off the next salvo. Like that just isn't conveyed well unless you kind of read the books a bit.
Yeah, I mean it looks kind of cheesy. Like I would expect the Twilight vampire, not the Twilight vampires, the Underworld vampires, the actual real vampires, to do that kind of shit, and I would accept it because it's bullshit.
Yeah.
But with that character and the way you describe it, when you've been reading those books, the way you describe it, it's like there's things that are explained in depth and in detail. So seeing on the trailer's cool, but seeing in a movie without an explanation, like we know why Luke can move objects. The Force, right. It's explained. It's explained
and shown.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. We're presented a character who, right at the get-go, we know is the best of the best because he's the last one. But we don't, like, it's not really shown a lot why he's amazing. Like, yeah, there are scenes prior to that big shootout at the very end of him, like, fighting off the Man in Black's magic abilities, or him taking on a demon and coming away okay, but still gets still's poisoned through it. Like, but we don't get the sense of like why Roland is a fantastic gunslinger. What caused him to get to this point? We don't get this driving force other than we don't get to see young Roland become old Roland, or young Roland become the gunslinger Roland. We just get Roland, and that kind of sucks because that build up into why he is such a legend is necessary.
Right.
Yeah. So it is frustrating because I liked it, but it should have just been its own fucking movie as opposed to it being part of the Dark Tower franchise. I think that's kind of where it fails and why it has such a low rating, because avid readers were expecting one thing and were presented a very different thing, and that pisses people off.
Yeah, but I also think that like this movie was in development hell for like at least 4 years.
Oh, God.
It just did not help it.
No,
I think
it definitely didn't.
its original release date, I thought, was going to be like 2012.
Jesus.
Here we are 5 years after the fact. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean that I think it spent too much time in the oven. Parts of it are really burnt. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from it.
Yeah, parts of it were burnt, and so they had to hack them off. And kind of what we were left with was kind of the best parts of it, but it's still not enough to get a full meal. And when my mom has never read the books, and when her kind of feeling of it is, oh, so this is the Sparks Note, the Sparks Notes version of the books, and I was kind of like, that sucks. I can't be like, oh yeah, no, it did a good job of kind of distilling everything down to it. No, it's like, it kind of got some things and then failed on the rest of it. So yeah, its rating and is unfortunate that it's deserved.
Yeah,
and I'm glad I saw it. I'm saddened by
the
results, and deeply saddened on how the part that exists, the film that exists, is not a bad movie. Just not a good adaptation. So yeah, I think that's kind of my 2 cents on the matter. Yeah,
that blows.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. They can't all be winners, right?
No, they can't.
It'd be nice if they were, though.
I mean,
I agree.
It would, but then we'd have nothing to talk about.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it'd be short conversations of, it was good, and that would be it.
Well, I mean, we say that, but we go into depth. I mean, how long do we talk about Spider-Man for?
Ever.
I was just about to say, every time we talk about Mad Max.
I mean, yes.
Mad Max is a great fucking film.
Yeah.
Right? But then again, I think sometimes they can't all be winners because, like I said last time, we need people to remember that they need examples of why you shouldn't try to rush things or condense them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A little bit more to gravitate to that. Some movie news. It's kind of unfortunate. The stunt double a stunt woman for the actress that's going to be playing Domino in Deadpool 2. Mm-hmm. She died, unfortunately.
Oh my!
In an accident doing a stunt on film.
Wow!
On the film set in Vancouver. So yeah, that was 2 days ago. Filming apparently has resumed since, but yeah, it was a car accident essentially.
Jesus.
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds has spoke out about it, and the actress that this was, she was doing this for, spoken about it. It sucks. It sucks. I'm pretty sure that the film's now going to be dedicated to her.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's unfortunate.
It really is. That's always tragic to have happen.
Yeah. But it's like, it's just accidents happen, and like. And from everything I read, this wasn't a crazy stunt. It's just, shit just happened.
Right.
Someone had to lose their life, which sucks.
Yeah. It's one of those things that's stunt doubles do kind of know going into things that shit can get dicey, and that you try to be as safe as you can, and everybody tries to be as safe as they can, and just one little thing can kind of cascade into a bigger thing. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, speaking of just stunt doubles, so like Tom Cruise, he likes to do his own stunts. Mm-hmm. Now they're delaying Mission Impossible 6 because he broke his leg, I think, trying to do a stunt.
Jesus.
It's like, that's why they pay a stuntman, dude.
Yep.
I get it, you're in really good shape for 50 years old, 52, however fucking old you are, but like, come on. So
there's a certain time where you let someone else kind of take the reins on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sucks that this woman had to die who's doing her job essentially.
Yeah.
But bit of movie news that happened this past week.
Yeah. Other things that have kind of come up during kind of everything is there was a trailer for Tales from the Crypt coming back on TNT, so we're getting the show again. But M. Night Shyamalan's kind of behind it, and that's it's a mixed bag of things. I think
I really love Tales from the Crypt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's one of those things that first got me into like the horror genre.
Yeah,
and of course, I can't stand M. Night Shyamalan sometimes, so I'm really iffy. However,
I'm iffy too.
I feel like it can work. I feel like this is a show that can still be relevant and fun.
Yeah.
They just have to be smart about how they approach the scary stories, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think M. Night has, his break from doing movies, that kind of that simmer period he had, and his kind of come back to it. I actually think the movies he's been putting out now have definitely felt better. I recently watched Split, and it's not the most amazing movie in the world, but I felt like for M. Night, it was actually like a good movie. And from what I've heard, The Visit is a very good movie. So I think there's hope for the series, and as long as he has the right cast and directors and writers kind of backing him, and that it's not just a one-man show, I think you can get that kind of spooky, scary vibe from it. I think the thing it'll come down to is how well does it compare to Black Mirror? Not to kind of already sabotage something that's not out yet.
I think the thing about Black Mirror, though, is you don't know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
And the thing that I always remember about Tales from the Crypt is, like, you could tell right away where the fuck this thing's going.
Sure.
Like, you were in a fucking car crash about to happen. You know where it lands, and that's what... Because it's not like... It was predictable in that way. Mm-hmm. And I remember the show being stressful because you're like, well, the guy's in a house with a bunch of killer dolls. When do the dolls kill him, right?
Right.
Versus Black Mirror is like, the government's watching you, and then you find out, nope, the guy was in the computer the entire time because he's a robot.
Right.
And you're like, well, my reality's broken.
But I think that's something that I would find okay if they decided to look at Tales from the Crypt and kind of approach it in that, like, the show isn't already forecasting how it's going to end. I actually think that would be exciting for an audience for a change of just like you're following along going, oh, I know exactly how it's going to end, and totally is thrown back at you.
Yeah. For me, Tales of the Crypt is just more like I found the Crypt Keeper more entertaining than the shorts he showed.
Sure.
Oh, I love the Crypt Keeper. I used to have action figures of him.
Yeah.
Apparently I'm looking more forward to that than I'm looking forward to anything that they put out, because most of the time I didn't give a shit about the episodes, the shorts that they... Because I can't remember a single one.
I can't either.
I actually remember a few. There
Good.
were some interesting ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the show suffers from, like, the earlier ones were really good.
Yeah.
Because they were like, they got away with more stuff, and then as the show went on, they kind of toned down. But one thing I wanted to point out, because a while ago, like last year actually around this time, Robot Chicken put out one of these Crypt Keeper like little shorts, and it was about him getting pissed off that his puns were getting taken and all that, and I loved it. And Ash was like, "Why do you like this? You hate puns." And I was like, "No, I used to like puns because I loved the Crypt Keeper puns, because that shit was Halloween and tacky." Like,
okay, well, why did you evolve to hate puns?
Because most puns just were like shitty dad jokes at this point. Like,
well, yeah, and then you came to Cogswell, where it's like filled with like a bunch of assholes who love using puns. So
I mean, like, the way I felt about it was, I think for me, because like in my mind, puns were always like, oh, they're silly horror movie like that's most of the time where I saw a lot of puns,
Mm-hmm.
and I always enjoyed those. But then everyone's just constantly using puns, and I'm like, God, I hate everyone around me. But like I remember he had a really good one where he's like, my girlfriend gave me the cold shoulder, but you know she's really just a corpse. And like his other shitty jokes, and I'm like, like that's really macabre and like bad, and I don't know. I always got a kick out of those, and I love the Crypt Keeper. I would kill to work on this show actually, just because he's another one of those reasons where I'm like, man, puppets are fucking awesome. He's a fucking awesome character, and you know, I hope they get the original voice actor if he's still around.
I hope so too. Like that'd be cool.
If they have to get close to it, I mean, if he's not around, they got to find someone that can do that type of voice.
Oh, definitely. I'm actually gonna look that up right now. Is the original Crypt Keeper gonna be part of the new one?
Sure.
He might be vying for it. I mean, I would.
I mean, there's no reason why you wouldn't want to have him as a part of your show. Like, especially if you're bringing it back, getting the kind of original voice behind it, definitely a good thing for your show.
Damn it.
What?
So, the guy's name is John Kasser.
Mm-hmm.
Still alive, obviously. He actually, last year, they did a interview with him, and at that time, he said he was not going to be part of M. Night Shyamalan's Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I think it's just more of his choice.
Yeah.
Right.
But, like, if he does come back, fucking, oh my god, so many people will be excited.
True.
Definitely feel right at home.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I kind of feel like Tales from the Crypt is a good thing to have on TV, and I kind of want to say we're going to be heading with television in general. We're going to be heading a little bit away from all these series that are out now are like more for binge watching than anything else. And there's no show out there where you can miss an episode and be okay. At least to my knowledge, there isn't.
Yeah.
Because, like there's this whole thing that happened, what was it, like a couple weeks ago, where some guy who had never watched Game of Thrones watched the second episode, and he was trying to figure out what was going on. And I watched about half of this video. I'm like, okay, you're just being a sarcastic prick. It wasn't funny. Everyone says it was hilarious. I didn't really find it funny because he's just basically taking like the most obvious jokes. But it's also that thing where it's like, yeah, we kind of like if you just hop into a series in X season, you're not going to know anything that's going to happen or that's been happening.
Yep.
We don't have a whole lot of shows that do that. We don't have any Law and Order type shows that are just dumb TV because most people don't accept it anymore. Everything now is like this epic 60-hour, 70-hour movie, and you have to watch it from the beginning almost.
Yeah.
So something like Tales from the Crypt is probably a good thing to have.
It helps. It's like digestive. You know, it helps cleanse the palate, helps everything kind of settle in, and breaks up kind of the monotony of the same garbage day in, day out.
Yeah, exactly. And, you just kind of need a good thing to kind of forget, to watch and forget. Whereas with Game of Thrones, like if you're a fan like me, it's where you're just kind of like watching on the end of your seat, going, "Are they going to die now?" Oh, because that's how that show's been like for the last 7 years. So yeah, it's interesting, and it's probably good that we're gonna get that show. The new Star Trek show, Star Trek Discovery, will not be what Next Generation was, which in a sense was Next Generation was 20-25 episodes a season, and you can miss a couple of them and be okay.
Yeah.
Because they were centered around one story in this 1 hour, and that was neat. Now it's not like that.
Yeah.
So, with Tales of the Crypt, we're kind of going to get that. So, we'll see. I have to look up that trailer now. So.
It was very, the trailer didn't give too much away. It was very just kind of cut and dry. Here's what's happening. Here's what we're doing. And,
okay. That's cool.
So very, very spoiler-less.
Right.
Which, good. I don't want to know too much of what you're planning. I just want to, I'm hoping it just kind of does well. And I hope that it has, it either kind of takes notes from Black Mirror, or does its own thing, or goes with the classic tried and true of Tales from the Crypt, because I think
Campy horror,
I think it'll be fine that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be good.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Dude, it'll be great for Halloween.
Oh, for sure.
Did it give a date?
I did not give a date that I know of, but if they're like, that's not a bad time to shoot for to come out.
No, probably not.
We'll see what happens though.
3 things I'm looking forward to in October. Actually, 4 things I'm looking forward to in October are Shadow of War, Wolfenstein 2, Stranger Things, and Glorious Glorious Fall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I'll take Glorious Glorious Fall, and the other 3 I can forget. If I can have hoodie weather, I'll be happy.
Yes. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, for sure. I guess with that, I think we should be wrapping up.
I think it's a good place to end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. I guess we're out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you for listening. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe on iTunes. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. If you're on Facebook, comment, share.
Yeah. Give us a comment what you think about Discord banning the alt-right servers. Like to know what this discussion seems like.
Yeah, definitely.
If anyone out there is listening.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Yeah. And, just for the note, thank you for listening, especially with us this far.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And, even though things are crazy and, it's not the most ideal time, there's still a future to look forward to.
Yeah.
You just got to kind of fight for it at the moment.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And, you have to keep fighting.
Truth.
Yeah. But just remember what they said. Love, not hate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Alright. And with that, we are out. Peace.
Deuces, y'all.
Later days.